Hi guys, welcome to Pea Buffer Kingdom. My name is Rob, and today is a special video because I can announce that we have surpassed the 100 subscriber number. Yeah! That's so cool. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, liked, commented on the channel. It all helps, and if you can continue to do that, and if you're a new subscriber, continue to like, subscribe, comment, all the rest of the good stuff. That way it promotes this channel even more, and we can hit the next big number. I was going to try for 100 subscribers by the end of the year, but we've hit it within 4 months. So that's pretty amazing. I've got ideas perhaps for a new channel as well right now, but for this time being, I'm going to stick with the Pea Buffer channel. And as I've done quite a lot of videos already, I'm going to look into doing maybe just one video a month at the beginning of every month rather than one every 2 weeks. Because obviously, being only Pea Buffers, I can't do like videos constantly. So I want to make sure that they're all good and I'm not just churning videos out just for the sake of it. So they're likely to be just once every month. So moving on to the video itself, this one is another special one. This is going to be the top 5 things that you need to know when or before buying Pea Buffer fish. So I'm hoping, like 2 of my videos already, this one surpasses the 1,000 mark and we can continue to make this a big success. It is getting the right tank set up. Now this depends a lot on the amount of Pea Buffers that you have, and obviously the space that you have in your flat or house or wherever you live. Now the main thing to think about is you want about 5 to 10 gallons for the first Pea Buffer, and in my opinion you want about another 5 gallons for each one after that. Now that varies. Some people think you should have 1 Pea Buffer for 5 to 10 gallons and then only 3 gallons for every puffer after that. But I just think you should get as much space for your Pea Buffers as you possibly can, given that these are very active fish. And as you can see in the video here, you're seeing a bit of aggression there as well. So you want space and places for them to hide and to have their own little territories and own spaces. You really don't want to have a really tiny tank with barely anything in it and then say 2, 3, 4 puffers that are just going to be picking each other and know where to go when they start chasing about. Because as they get to maturity, you'll see a lot more of the territorial kind of behaviour. Another thing you want to think about when you're setting up the tank is making sure that there are plenty of lines of sight broken. So by that I mean you have rocks or woodwork like I've got here. There's this spider wood that I have in here. And you have plenty of plants, just lots of things that when they get nippy or chasing each other around, they've got spaces to go and hide a bit, or they've got places that they can just hang out and they're not being constantly chased. Because as I say, when they get older you will have that issue. Not so much when they're tiny and you first buy them, but you certainly want to make sure that there's plenty of things for the fish to be occupied with and lots of things for them to explore, because they're extremely inquisitive fish, and they need a lot to keep them busy and keep their minds occupied. Otherwise you're going to have issues. So yeah, make sure the filtration is good. You don't want the flow to be too fast because they're coming from India where there's like slow moving rivers or lakes. So you don't want them to be blown around a tank like a hurricane. You want a filter that's, you know, it's good enough to keep the place circulating, but it's not enough that they're going to be swimming against the current all the time or being stressed out by that. Because they're only tiny fish and they will get knackered if they're constantly swimming against that kind of tide. Okay, so next up at number 4 is your male to female ratio that you're going to have in a tank. When you're setting up a Pea Buffer tank, ideally you want 1 male to every 3 females. Now the issue with this is when you're buying your Pea Buffers, the chances are they're going to be juveniles, so you're not actually going to be able to tell whether they're females or males straight from the off, and it can take some time to get that idea of what's going to be what. Now the females, when they get older, they're going to have pretty clear white stomachs, as you see in the aggression between the females here. Clear white stomachs. The males will have wrinkles behind the eyes. I see if the males are around to get any clips of. The males, when they get older, they'll have iridescent, shiny lines, almost wrinkles behind the eyes. And they'll develop a dark stripe, almost a brown stripe down the centre of their stomach. And that's the ways when they're an adult that you'll be able to tell the difference. But here, when you first buy your Pea Buffers, they will be babies or juveniles, more than likely. So just be aware that when you're buying them, ask the people at the pet store if when they get to a mature level and they're getting aggressive, that you are able to bring one back and trade it. So say you've got 2 new males, or like here, I've got quite an issue with the females starting to get a bit aggressive now. That that you are able to maybe bring 1 or 2 back and trade them for other ones. So ask that when you're buying your pea puffer fish, so that you can make sure that you are getting the best sort of long-term future for your tank as well. Future-proof it, if you like. So yeah, making sure that you get the female to male ratio that you want is very tricky, it's quite difficult, but over time you can get it, and you can get a very peaceful tank. Next up is number 3, and that is picking the healthiest puffer fish at the fish store. So making sure that you're not picking ones that have potentially already got internal parasites, ones that are looking weak, ones that are lethargic. You want to make sure that you're getting the ones that have the most energy, that look the healthiest. And you can ask them at the fish store. Actually, where I got these ones from, they did it without me asking. They fed them in front of me so I could see that they're eating and they're healthy. Ask the people at the fish store if you can see them feeding. Because if they say, no, we can't do that right now, the chances are they're probably covering up the fact that they're not that well and they just want to sell them off. So if you've been waiting for ages to get your pea puffers and you finally get there, you see them, you're excited, but they don't quite look like this, they're not plump, they're not particularly bright coloured or energetic, the chances are you probably should stay away from them until they get a new batch, or you can find another fish store where you can get healthy ones, because ultimately it's the fish store's responsibility to make sure they're selling healthy fish. They should be deworming them anyway, but I suspect a few of them don't, and you don't want to be buying from those kind of places where they're not taking proper care of the fish and they're willing to sell, you know, ill fish to you. So the things that you're looking for, other than a good size like this one here, and a nice energy, clear colour, I don't think energy is in spiritual, you know, there might be spiritual, but that's by the by. If you want someone that's got good energy, zipping around a tank maybe, oh, you see that one here, potentially a bit of aggression coming up here with these guys. And you want to avoid the ones that have got a pinched stomach. So ones that look like they're kind of breathing in and sucking in their stomach. You want to make sure that you don't get those ones. They're usually quite dark as well. So as you look at them, they'll have a darker skin. You won't see the kind of bright greenness that these ones have. And they're often like at the bottom of the tank, or they're kind of just hiding away, looking very shy. You want to get the ones that are looking really healthy, zipping around. Even if you've been waiting for ages, do not buy the ones that have got their stomachs pinched in and sucking in their stomach from not eating, or the parasites eating the food that they're taking in. Even if you have to wait a lot longer, it's worth waiting to get the healthy ones. And trust me, I know that from experience, where I've bought ones thinking, oh, they didn't look that well, but I could probably get them back to health. They're very, very hard animals to get back to health. So don't try and be a Mother Teresa like I did and take on a few that look quite ill, but thinking I can help them. Make sure you only get the ones that are healthy, and also teach the fish stores to make sure that they get their fish nice and healthy before selling them on. Now, next up on the top 5 things that you should know before buying your pea puffers is the fact that pea puffer fish can be very, very picky eaters. They're not particularly easy to look after at times. So with foods, the majority of peas will eat frozen bloodworm, but many don't. So you have to get live bloodworms. Now these, what I have here, aren't live bloodworms as such. These are called tubifex worms. Now these are the only food, along with snails, that I found all pea puffers eat. So every single puffer I've had absolutely loves these. Now what you can see here, excuse the sound effects there from the builders outside. What you can see here is live bloodworms, a bag of them, and over here, this is what I usually do with them. There we are. What I usually do with them is put them in a small pot of tap water. You don't need any other kind of water, just tap water is fine. And I change it quite regularly to keep them fresh, otherwise they can die off and stink, absolutely stink, these tubifex worms. So this is a food that I haven't shown on the channel yet. If you want to know about more foods that you can get for pea puffers, if you look through my channel list, I've got a live Daphnia video, I've got one I think of them eating brine shrimp, snails, all sorts, and you can look at the different things that they can eat. But yeah, so food-wise, these guys can be extremely picky. It's really worth considering when you're buying these. Are you willing to sort of go out of town or to find places that are going to do a variety of foods, because you're kind of, what's the word, pet smart, or pets at home, wherever you're from, whether it's the US or England, wherever. They're not going to do a huge variety of foods for these type of fish. So if you've not got the kind of place that's going to have these kind of live foods and different frozen foods, it's really worth considering when buying these pea puffers. Are you going to be able to feed them? Should they be really picky? So yes, them being picky on food is something to really take in consideration before you buy these two. And last but not least, the number one thing to think about when getting your pea puffers is deworm, deworm, and deworm. These fish are incredibly vulnerable to internal parasites. I should know I've lost quite a few due to internal parasites, and I've tried these medicines to get rid of parasites. I found out a new way of using Ep.10, which I'll be trying next time. Hopefully it won't be next time, but if there is, if I need to do a treatment again on the tank. But it's been an absolute nightmare dealing with internal parasites. Once they stop eating, when they get really skinny with the pinched in stomachs, like I told you to avoid when you're looking for them in the fish store, once they get to that stage and they stop eating, it's impossible pretty much to get them back. And it's not the nicest thing to see them struggling at the bottom of the tank or in the lees, kind of ambling around. So you really need to consider as well when you're getting these to get medication, depending on where you're from, for them before you buy the pea puffers. So if and when, and it probably will be when you get internal parasites, you have medication there to use straight away, because the days it can take for you to get the medication, they'll probably be gone by then. And obviously it's bad for them because you're, inadvertently killing fish, and it's bad for you obviously because you're spending money when, if you'd had the medicine in the first place, you could have just treated them straight away. So internal parasites, the number one thing to think about pea puffers, it isn't talked about really until it's too late or people suddenly have it. So it's really something to take into consideration which medicine or which medication you can get locally near you. Local fish stores are going to be better than chain fish stores, I imagine, with this kind of stuff. I've not really seen anything particularly strong at Pets at Home, which isn't particularly great anyway. And they think you can put fish in after a day of the tank being set up, so that shows you what they know. And yeah, look up what you can get. There's Parasites Pro, which has worked quite well for me actually. Nematol is a strong one, which has worked for a lot of people. It hasn't worked for me, so I don't know, maybe it just doesn't work for pea puffers, I'm not sure. And Ep.10 works for a lot of people. It didn't work for me, but as I said, I found a new way of dosing it, which isn't on the box, someone's told me. So if I need to, I'm going to try that. If it works, I'll let you guys know. So yeah, that is your top 5 things you need to know when buying pea puffers or thinking about buying pea puffers. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. If you haven't already, do subscribe. I'll be doing videos every month, at the beginning of every month from now on. And if you like it, swing it a like. If you want to leave a comment, maybe there's something I've missed out that you think people should know, or maybe there's something you want to add to what I've said, or maybe there's a type of video that I haven't done that you'd like to see, let me know in the comments section and I will look into it. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see how many more subscribers we get. We're past the 100 subscribers. We've got 2 videos over 1,000 views. I hope this one is the next one. Thank you for joining me and have a good one.